At the end of the 2025 Premier League season, Salah was by far and away the best player in the league as he led Liverpool to the title.
Salah's looking to do it on his own!
Fast forward and my brother is in Turkey. I am guessing for the second time because that hairline didn't make a comeback on its own. So how did a Ballon d'Or candidate end up in Turkey of all places and joining a club other than Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, and Besiktas? It wasn't that long ago that Salah was on top of the world. In the 2024-2025 season, he scored 29 goals and got 18 assists. Bro won the Golden Boot, Playmaker of the Season, and was named the Premier League Player of the Season. He became the first player to win all three awards in the same campaign. At 32 years old, when most players are supposed to be slowing down, Salah had just produced one of the greatest individual Premier League seasons we've ever seen. He was being talked about as the best player in the world. He was literally in Ballon d'Or conversations. Liverpool obviously knew how important he still was, so in April of 2025, after months of questions about his future, Salah signed a new 2-year contract, keeping him at Liverpool until 2027. At the time, it felt perfect. Salah was still performing at an unbelievable level, Liverpool had secured the future of one of the greatest players in their history, and it looked like he could spend the final years of his elite European career at Anfield chasing even more records. Nobody expected that relationship to fall apart so quickly. Liverpool's 2025-2026 season quickly turned into a complete mess.
You want your team to be in control, and very rarely this season have Liverpool ever been in control of a game of football.
Defensively, they are struggling. They are not at the level they were last season.
This was a team that had just won the Premier League, had added so many new stars to their squad, and suddenly they couldn't stop losing games. By late autumn, Liverpool had already lost 6 of their first 13 league matches and had fallen all the way down to 9th. Naturally, Arne Slot started changing things. Liverpool were getting destroyed in transitions, the same way that I was getting destroyed in the comment section of any video having to do with Argentina at the 2026 World Cup. So Slot decided to ask for more defensive work from his attacking players. The wingers had to press harder, track runners, and get much deeper when Liverpool didn't have the ball. For Salah, that was a pretty major change. He was now 33 years old, and for years, Liverpool had managed his workload by allowing him to conserve energy defensively so he could explode forward when they won the ball. Now he was being asked to do much more running without the ball. And it came as no surprise that at the same time, his attacking numbers dropped. After producing one of the greatest Premier League seasons ever, Salah scored just 5 times in his first 19 appearances across all competitions. Arne Slot responded by doing something that would have been unthinkable a few months earlier. He started benching him. Against West Ham in late November, Salah was left out of the starting lineup, ending a run of 53 consecutive Premier League starts. Liverpool won 2-0, and Slot publicly praised Salah for handling the situation professionally.
Much needed win for Liverpool, their first win in 4. As for West Ham, they are down in 17th after that.
Today was the perfect game for Liverpool, away from home against West Ham.
Is that a big story, Salah being dropped?
Well,
No.
was
anybody surprised?
No, I mean, it's a story that is Salah, but nobody's going to go, no, there's nobody batting an eyelid going, hey, Mo Salah was dropped today, because the Liverpool fans probably wanted him dropped.
But obviously, Mo Salah wasn't happy, and that was only the beginning. A week later, everything exploded when Liverpool went to Ellen Road and drew 3-3 with Leeds. For the 3rd league game in a row, Salah wasn't in the starting lineup, but this time, he didn't even come off the bench. Liverpool were chasing a winner, and one of the greatest goal scorers in Premier League history was just sitting on the bench, playing with his balls. After the game, Salah had enough. He stopped in the mix zone and spoke to reporters for around 7 minutes, and he absolutely unloaded.
The club promised me in the summer for a lot of promises and nothing. So far, I'm in the bench 3 games, so I can say that they keep the promise. And I said that many times before. I had a good relationship with the manager, and out of the sudden, we don't have any relationship. I don't know why. It seems to me, how I see it, it's someone does he want to be in a club. It's not acceptable for me, to be fair. Like, I don't know why that's happening always to me. Like, I don't get it. I don't think I'm the problem. I have done so much for this club.
Liverpool responded immediately. For their next Champions League game against Inter Milan, Salah wasn't even included in the squad. Slot and the club were basically sending a message. You can be Mo Salah, you can be one of the greatest players in Liverpool history, but you can't publicly attack the manager and the club and expect nothing to happen. And plenty of former players and pundits agreed.
A very sad development for a club legend. Jamie, you've had a couple of days to chew on this. What's your take on it?
I thought it was a disgrace what he did after the game.
Eventually, Salah apologized and returned against Brighton, where he came off the bench, and reminded everyone what he could still do as he set up Hugo Ekitike in a 2-0 win. For a moment, there was a sliver of hope that the relationship could be repaired, but it never really felt the same again. In March of 2026, Salah confirmed that he would leave Liverpool at the end of the season. Then in the summer, Liverpool and Salah agreed to terminate the final year of his contract, and just like that, it was over. When Mo Salah was available in the summer of 2026, everyone basically assumed where he was going. Saudi Arabia. He already knew Arabic, he was Muslim, and that's where you go when you want one last big payday. Saudi clubs had been chasing Salah for years. Back in 2023, Liverpool even rejected a massive £150 million offer for him. MLS was another possibility. Salah could move to America, earn huge money, enjoy a completely different lifestyle, and become one of the biggest faces of football in North America. But Salah surprised everyone. He wanted to stay in Europe. And a big reason was that he still wanted to play competitive football. He didn't want to slow things down yet. That's where Turkey came in. The Turkish league offered Salah a pretty interesting middle ground. He could still play European football, he could still play in front of massive crowds, he could still earn serious money, and he wouldn't have to completely leave European football behind. But even then, nobody expected Trabzonspor. When you hear about a superstar or a big name going to Turkey, you automatically assume he's going to join one of these three big clubs: Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, Besiktas. And for a while, Besiktas actually looked like Salah's most realistic destination. The two sides held serious talks, but eventually negotiations broke down. There were disagreements over the financial structure of the contract, signing payments, and Salah's image rights. And that's when Trabzonspor made their move. They knew they couldn't just approach this like a normal transfer. They were competing against clubs with more money, bigger international profiles, and the appeal of living in Istanbul. So they needed something different. And apparently one of their weapons was Trezeguet. The Egyptian winger had already played for Trabzonspor and obviously knew Salah extremely well from the national team. Throughout the summer, Trezeguet reportedly spoke to Salah regularly about what playing in Trabzon was actually like. And the pitch was very simple. In Istanbul, Salah would just be another superstar on the squad. But in Trabzon, he would be a king. Trabzon is completely obsessed with Trabzonspor. It's a one-club city where basically everyone supports the same team. And Trabzonspor made their intentions very clear. They weren't bringing in Salah to simply add another famous name to the squad. They wanted to build the entire project around him. Of course, the emotional pitch was not the only reason Salah was there. He's not getting paid in hugs and kisses. Another factor was the ridiculous money. Trabzonspor reportedly gave Salah a 2-year contract running until 2028. His guaranteed base salary was 10 million euros net per season. Then there was another 7 million euros guaranteed annual signing payment. And the word net is incredibly important here because in England, when you see the value of somebody's contract, that's before taxes. In Turkey, these contracts can be structured around what the player actually takes home. So Salah wasn't looking at 17 million euros and then losing a massive chunk of it to income tax. This was essentially his take-home figure under the reported structure. He also reportedly was given a percentage of revenue from Salah branded merchandise, along with additional performance bonuses. So financially, Trabzonspor found a way to make this incredibly attractive without needing to match the ridiculous headline salaries Salah would have earned in Saudi Arabia. Trabzonspor's stock price jumped as soon as the news was announced. You already know a bunch of guys just became millionaires from insider trading. Then came the supporters. Thousands of fans came out to welcome Salah with flares, flags, and chants everywhere. And that's when you started to understand what Trezeguet had apparently been telling him. The same way that Turkey showed so much love to Salah, I want to show that same level of love to you guys. So shout out to our newest channel members. Shout out MFSARS1075, Marcel Mio, and Barca Blaugrana 11. These guys now get access to PedTalksSports.com, which technically you all get access to because it's a public website, but they get access to dark web football. where they see information and articles that don't even make it into my videos. Secondly, they get access to the Discord. If you guys want to avoid the people that rage bait for Elon Musk's pennies on Twitter, come join a community of like-minded individuals and save your brain cells. And thirdly, you get a shout out in my videos. I wanted to start doing this to let you guys know that your support does not go unappreciated. We upload so many videos so quickly that we haven't really had time to sit down and show my love to you guys that you've allowed us to be able to do this for a living. And I always say we and us because people don't understand I have a massive team behind me. So the reason that we get out such high quality videos so quickly is because I'm not a one-man army. This isn't like most normal YouTube channels. So by you guys supporting the channel, you not only support me, but you support my team of editors, my team of graphic designers. You're allowing all of us to do what we love permanently. So contrary to what some other creators might think in trying to discredit us and discredit our quality of production, we really appreciate the support. And more than ever, I want to keep building this community. So thank you again, and back to the Salah video. Now here's another important part. Salah wasn't joining some mid-team that he had to carry all by himself. Trabzonspor have a very good squad. They finished 3rd in the league the season before. They had qualified for European football and they had just won the Turkish Cup. Then you look through their squad and there are some recognizable names. Andre Onana was brought in goal after arriving from Manchester United. They had Savic, who brought years of experience at center back. Batista Mendy gave them physicality in the midfield. Ernest Mucci provided creativity further forward. And then you get to Paul Onuachu. He had just produced a fantastic 2025-2026 season, scoring 22 league goals and finishing as the Super League's top goal scorer. Now imagine putting Salah next to him. Now obviously we shouldn't pretend that this is the same Salah that we were watching back in 2025. He's older and naturally lost that ridiculous explosiveness he had earlier in his career. You're not going to see Salah constantly picking the ball up near the halfway line, sprinting past 3 defenders, and then destroying teams purely with his speed anymore. But there is a massive difference between saying Salah has declined and saying he's straight up finished, because he's definitely not finished. And when you look beyond the basic numbers from his final Liverpool season, there is still a very good footballer there. He got 7 goals and 7 assists in 27 appearances in his last season with the Reds. It's not great numbers, especially when you remember that literally one season earlier, he had 29 goals and 18 assists. But Salah was also playing in a Liverpool team that had completely fallen apart. The confidence was gone. Dutch Lex Luthor was constantly changing things around tactically. Salah was being asked to do more defensive work, and eventually he wasn't even starting every week. So naturally the numbers suffered. But there were still plenty of moments where you saw his quality. When he returned against Brighton after being left out of the previous squad, he came off the bench and immediately created a goal for Hugo Ekitike. Against Everton later in the season, Salah started, played the full 90 minutes, and scored in the Merseyside derby. Against Crystal Palace, he created 3 big chances. Against Brentford, he created another 4 chances and provided an assist. So the ability hadn't disappeared, and his underlying numbers told a similar story. When you adjusted for his minutes, Salah was still producing strong numbers for expected goals, expected assists, and chances created compared to other wide attackers. The bigger issue was how Liverpool were using him. At 34 years old, you don't want Salah spending huge portions of the game tracking back a fullback into his own half. You want him close to goal, you want him receiving the ball around the box, you want him making those little runs inside, you want him creating, and most importantly, you want him finishing, because when Liverpool actually put him in those situations, he could still hurt teams. And if people still thought that Salah was completely finished after his last season at Liverpool, then the World Cup kind of answered those concerns, because he was fantastic for Egypt. Egypt didn't use him like the old Salah. He wasn't just standing on the right wing waiting to sprint him behind. He had much more freedom. He could drift inside, drop deeper, receive the ball between the lines, and basically become Egypt's main creative player. And it worked. Against Belgium, Salah provided an assist. Then against New Zealand, we got his best performance of the tournament. He scored, he assisted, he was constantly involved, and he was named the man of the match. Or is it the superior player of the match now? Utter woke nonsense. Egypt eventually made it through to the knockout rounds, where Salah continued playing huge minutes for them. He played all 120 minutes against Australia, then came Argentina. Egypt eventually lost 3-2, but Salah was still able to cause problems against one of the best teams in the tournament. By the end of the World Cup, Salah had got 1 goal and 2 assists. Those weren't ridiculous numbers, but number one, he plays for Egypt. He's not going to get incredible stats in the World Cup. The fact that they even made it that far was amazing. But number two, you got a glimpse into what the future of Mo Salah's role could look like. He's not going to dominate games with pure speed anymore. He's going to dominate them with his movement, technique, and intelligence. That's the important difference. Salah doesn't need to be the player he was at 26 to still be incredibly effective at 34. He just needs a team that understands what he is now. After everything that happened at Liverpool, nobody would have blamed a 34-year-old Salah for going to Saudi Arabia, getting one last big contract, and winding down his career. Instead, he chose something completely different. He's still playing European football, he's still earning incredible money, but more importantly, he's joining a club where everyone is going to make him feel important again. So I don't look at Trabzonspor as Mo Salah's place to retire. I see it as one final challenge for him. Can he bring the Super League title back to Trabzon? Can he take this team on a serious European run? Can he prove what happened during his final season at Liverpool was more about the situation than the player? We're about to find out. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you will love this one too. Check it out right here.